You enter the pirate's hidden cave. You step over the tanned hide of a large reptile. Inside the cave, you see the glowing simian gem, which gives Bloody Pete control over the island's strangely colored apes. Beyond that, you see piles of Bloody Pete's booty along the walls of the cave.
Check the entrance for traps.
You find no traps, but Bloody Pete reveals himself, as do several of the green apes. Do you want to know how I made the treasure piles and apes?
No, I don't. Let's just wrap this up. It's been 3 weeks on this filthy island. I'm ready to kill this stupid pirate already.
You see, the treasure piles are pebbled textured paper.
No, let's just finish this adventure.
Welcome to episode 24 of Miniature Mashup.
Are you kidding me with this shit?
You wanted to marry someone in show business, baby.
We're not married, and you work in a movie theater!
Plastic animals. You see them everywhere. In little bags in the supermarket. You'll see them at the dollar store or perhaps inside craft stores. Theme like aquatic or on the farm or safari. And I'm sure most of you DMs have caught on to the fact that you can use these little bags to fill in the holes where Wizards of the Coast have sort of left gaps. But I'm here to tell you that even the farm animal sets can become useful. For example, I had a scenario where refugees were being chased out of their village by these large predators, and they had their livestock with them. And the predators were happy to attack the people or the livestock, and this gave the PCs some options. Also, you might want to get a farm set just to get some horses. The good folks at Safari, they put out a pony tube, actually put out a couple of different horse tubes, and this guy here, but he's selling them glued to a large-sized circular base for another $4 a pop. That's about a 300% markup. So instead of doing that, instead of buying them, just glue them to a large base yourself. Get them from Safari. Just tipping you off here. Now, I'm going to start in on the project itself. I've got a pirate from a pirate and skeleton set. I've got an ape and a bear from the Safari set. Now, at least I'm assuming that. The ape looks like some apes I have previously I've worked on, although they're not in the video, but they'll be in this video. And it just seems like the bear and the ape come from the same set here. So the first thing I've got to do is cut the mold lines off of these things. These all have pretty obvious mold lines. So I take a safety knife and I just slice those down, make them less apparent. If you've got an X-Acto knife, that'd probably be a better way to go. I'm also going to cut off the bases that are on them, just trim them down so they're just feet, and then I'm going to glue them to different bases than the plastic ones they have. Something maybe a little heavier. You could just flock these bases or just glue a penny to the bottom of them to weigh them down. That's a good way to go too. But I've got these wooden hearts here. I don't really have a use for them. I'm going to trim them down so they look like the ends of fat popsicle sticks. And I'm also going to use those on my pebbled textured paper. Now this pebbled textured paper you can get at online, and I think I had the image flash really quickly before. This stuff is literally called pebbled textured paper. And looks like little coins, doesn't it? Lots of little coins there. It also kind of looks like dragon scales, and I'll be using it for both. So I give them a hit with black primer. I cut out rectangles, but I trim the edges, and then we're just going to dry brush some gold onto that black piece of textured paper to make it look like coins. The finished effect is quite convincing. In addition to that, I'm going to glue some baubles of various kinds, and we're going to put those on there just to make it look like it's not just coins, but, you know, give it some points of interest, some gems and whatnot. It's not nearly as interesting as DMG's treasure piles, but it's a lot faster to do. Really simple project here. It's pretty much 2 steps. And that's it. That's your finished pile of treasure. It looks really quite nice when you see them on the floor. So I'll also be working on some of the baubles. Now they're black. Some of the ones that aren't just gems being glued on, I'm going to paint those silver just so they stand out from the gold objects. You can paint those gold as well, though. I'm sure that'd look fine. I'm going to use a little E6000 to base these 3 miniatures, the pirate, the ape, and the bear. Nothing like rubbing a little glue on a pirate's feet. Sorry, I'm just trying to be more descriptive here. I know a lot of times I cut out way too much stuff. It's sort of a bad habit I'm trying to break. So this is going to be our dragon hide. I'm going to flip that over, and you can see I drew out a rough sketch of how we're going to cut that. And I'm going to take this toothpick to give it a little weight, but also to add a tail and maybe a claw. Just going to chop that up and glue that along the bottom there with just some white PVC glue. And I'm going to paint this with a nice dark green, which is going to be a mixture of black and green. We're just going to put that on there. And it's not that interesting to watch me paint with one hand since I've got the camera here and this is a light thing, so I'm just going to cut away, and when we come back that'll be painted. And here's just sort of an intermediate step on these guys. Now here are the cats I used. I used one of those heads to put a seat for the front of the saddle on my thrift store jackpot video where I made a rock and a rider. And just here's my workspace a little bit. Just working on a piece of plastic. These apes came from a different safari set, and I just painted them like I've painted this ape, very similar. Here's an intermediary step. We've got the pirate and the gorilla and the bear about halfway done, and this is the finished product, guys. Just 3 very cheap miniatures that look pretty good, very tabletop worthy, I'd say, and they cost me next to nothing, literally. So come on back. Next week we'll be doing the contest.